Good morning from Indigo Run. Oh my gosh. I love that. The hummingbirds love these crepe myrtles, and they'll come in, and it's just so cool watching them go from one flower to another. All's pretty quiet this morning. Not a lot going on, but it's a cool 74 degrees with a little bit of breeze. Excuse me. And I'm watching grandfather's son as he begins to come up over the ridge. You know, I talk a lot about the ridge, but it is such a special place to me. I've had my one place where I sit down there on the ridge since I moved here in the 80s. So I've been here a while. I know this place very well and see a lot of things happen here that for a lot of people might freak them smooth out. And yet being taught like I was by my grandmother not to have fear for things that I see and don't have a reference for. And that's what I've always done my whole life. She always said, tell them who you are. Tell them why you're there. And you can even ask them, well, who are you? You know, you have that right as well to know who they are. And sometimes you'll get past that fear, and sometimes you won't. So that's something each person has to decide for themselves. And I talk a lot about how in this third dimension world that we're living in, that demons would not exist if it were not for humans. And they do not exist in my life. I do not give them power in any way. But there are many things that we learn from those experiences if we're open to learn them. You know, we can't just shut everything off and say, I don't want to think about what happened. We need to think about happen and ask yourself, why? What created that? And in this third dimension, we perceive good and bad. That's a lesson that our souls learn when they come to this dimension, this earth, and choose to learn here as the expression of a human. our higher selves help us when we open up to the understanding of how this third dimension is and why we're here. Why are we in this space of good and bad? What is it that we can learn? And through that, you make your reality. You create your reality. And I know for some that is hard to understand. The truth of this dimension is there are things that happen that we may not understand why that had to happen. But there's always a reason for everything that is experienced in this life. One of the things that happens when something that we see as horrendous happens, many who would not otherwise open compassion begin to feel that compassion for that situation. That's a very important thing. Having that compassion for others. And not only for people, but for our Earth Mother, for all of those beings who live here on this earth. Having compassion for those as well. And having compassion for yourself. We sometimes are much better at having compassion for someone else or something else, or in being kind to others and seeing the light in others when we have a hard time seeing it in ourselves. And that's why I always say, be kind. And be kind to yourself. That's an important thing to do. Being kind to yourself. You know, each morning I get up and I look in the mirror and I say, good morning, Arla. I love you. And I am so thankful for this life of Arla. Even though sometimes it's not easy, I still am so thankful for this body, this representation, this physical representation of our soul. I am thankful for that, and I honor that. And that's why my workshops, Living Through the Heart, are so important to me, to help other people begin to live through their heart and to open what I call their heart eyes to who we each are. I am so appreciative of all of you who watch my videos and who comment. That means so much to me that I'm helping somehow. People ask all the time, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Your purpose is to see who you are. You are love. And your purpose is to share that love in many different ways. You might be one of those people that just makes everybody feel good. Feel good about themselves. People want to be around you because of that. That's a very high purpose to do that. And in doing that, in being kind, and being kind to yourself, you are raising your vibrational consciousness. Such a simple thing to do to raise your vibrational consciousness. To love others, to love yourself, to be kind to others, to be kind to yourself, to have compassion for others, and to have compassion for yourself. Grandfather's up this morning, and it's breakfast time at Indigo Run. I hope your day today's a good day. And be kind today. And be kind to yourself. You are so special.